السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Amani ya Mwenyezi Mungu imfikie Hussein na Ali mwana wa Hussein na wana wa Hussein na masahaba wa Hussein.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our program, Lessons from Karbala, with Sheikh Abdul Jalil from Washington and me, Naima Nanji. This is a continuation of the last few days that we've covered, and today we're going to discuss importance of family. Welcome, Sheikh.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind. As you mentioned, today our topic is about lessons we can learn from Karbala regarding the importance of family. But before I go to the lessons from Karbala, let me just point the importance of family in Islam itself. When you look in the Quran, Allah always emphasize about family and together and being as family all the time. Like, for example, when you look in the Surah Al-Fatiha that we read, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, part of the surah, he says, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدْ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, which means you alone we worship. This surah, sometimes I read salat or namaz by myself, but I still have to say we. When I'm alone, see, when we pray in congregation, it makes sense. But when I pray alone, what is the point that I say we when I'm alone praying, right? Now, they said the reason or the wisdom behind it is we never been alone when we pray. Because even if I'm alone praying, I have two angels along with me praying as well. That's one. And number two, they said, no, there are other creatures who 24/7, they are in the line of praying to Allah. So when you come and you say, you alone, we worship, you are saying, I'm joining the group of the servant of Allah to be one of them praying to God. Okay, so you see the point I'm trying to make is Islam emphasizes on togetherness. That is one. Number two, you see that they have also emphasized the importance of praying together. Like Salat al-Jama'ah. In Salat al-Jama'ah, they have so much emphasis that it's always better to pray together than to pray alone. And the amount of the reward you get when you pray in congregation is much more than when you pray alone. That is point number two. Point number three, you see, in the month of Ramadan, Allah has made it a month that we all Muslims across the world, as a family, as a nation, we all fast from day one and finish the same day. Right? That is the lesson to teach us about unity, oneness, being together. That is one. Another one is at least once a week, we have what we call Salat al-Jum'ah, where people come more to the mosque to congregate together and praying as a one nation in the community. That is another point. Then you have once a year. So you have once a week, Jum'ah, once a year, which is the month of Ramadan, and then there is another once a year gathering, which is international gathering, which we call it Hajj, right? Where everybody comes from every corner of the earth to come and all be in a place called Mecca and Medina to make sure that they worship together. You see, there's differences of colors, differences of languages, differences of cultures, and the list goes on. but there was one thing that unites them together, and that is the religion. All right. So this is also one of the messages of the Islam about together and being united. Now this is at the large point. Now, when you come in terms of the family, Islam has emphasized so much about family that you see from day one when Allah created Prophet Adam, Allah created his wife Eve with him, Hawa, and they were living together. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have created Adam alone, but he created Hawa so they can be together and have a family together. But one important thing is Shaitan or Satan, that's one thing he doesn't like. To see family together, Shaitan cannot stand that. Always Satan wants to come and break the family, destroy the structure of family. And that's why when you saw Adam and Hawa were in the heaven living together as a family, he made a way into their life and made sure that he broke them apart. And there is one narration that every single day in the morning, Shaitan has his soldiers that he sent them to go and do all the evil things. Because you know Shaitan, he has soldiers among the humans and he has soldiers among the jinn. Now, when they go out to go encourage others to drink alcohol, encourage others to steal, encourage others to kill, and so on and so forth. In the evening, they will come and give him the report, what they have done. Now, the narration says, when they give him the list of what they have done, he will sit down listening until one of them says, I have destroyed the family. Then he will stand up and clap and cheer up for breaking family.
Seriously?
That's right.
Oh boy.
Shaitan loves to see family are not together. And that is why you see Islam is opposite. Islam wants family to be together.
Yes.
Right? That is why you see in the Quran and the Hadith of Ahlul Bayt, there is so much emphasis.
Yeah.
That, for example, even in regarding the importance of families, they say whenever families sit together to eat together, Allah bless that food more than if a person is going to eat by himself.
Yes.
And there's a narration from the Prophet where he says, خَيْرُ الطَّعَامِ مَا كَثُرَتْ عَلَيْهِ الْأَيْدِ. The best blessed food is the food that there are many hands in it. All right. So in Islam, there is so much emphasis on family, togetherness, father, mother. Even when you travel, you know, it's discouraged in Islam to travel alone. It's discouraged in Islam to sleep in a house alone.
Yes.
It's discouraged in Islam to even eat alone. Right? Why? Because this is the way that Islam emphasizes about family and the root of togetherness. Right? Now, on top of that, when you come to Islam, there are so many narrations that Allah, through the Hadith al-Qudsi and the Hadith of the Prophet, they emphasize about the family. Why is important about the family? Because the family starts from the father and the mother and the children. Now, if these individuals are able to have this together and keep themselves together, then that is the first step of trying to get the community together. Right? Because the community starts from what? From families.
Yes.
They come together. So if the families are well organized or well settled, then it's easier for them to come as a community. And if they're able to come as a community, then it's easier to come as a nation. But Shaitan doesn't like that, because the more you become as a nation or community, the more you become stronger. The more you can do more for Allah, for Islam, for yourself, and Shaitan doesn't like that.
He doesn't want unity.
He doesn't want unity. He wants to disperse the family and keep the family apart. And that is why when you look today, the life system that we have is so heartbreaking that you see most of the houses, whether they are Muslim families, non-Muslim families, are broken so bad that today, when you look in the family structure, it's not well. the way that Islam wanted us to do. For example, when you look today, there are so many things that is breaking family apart. But unfortunately, we're not looking at it. I'll give you an example. Today, these devices that we have, they're good in their own way, but they are also dangerous for family. Now, example, you see families go to restaurant for lunch, right? They go there as a family to be together, spend time together, but they will be there, but they are not together.
Yeah, they're all on their mobile phones.
Excellent.
Yes.
You see, everybody we are there as a family,
Yeah.
body-wise, but we are not there mentally.
Yes.
Because everybody is busy in their own world.
Yes.
And you see, like, what's the point
Yeah.
of you coming there? Because these devices also can be a problematic in breaking the families. All right, that is one. Another thing about the family is that, you see, there are a lot of times certain thing happens that Islam discourages us from doing it. All right, for example, like, let's say I have a father, I have a mother, I have a siblings. All right, Islam always encourages us to do things as family. All right, when we travel as a family. When you do things, do as a family. Because this family structure, it helps us to build that relationship with each other. It helps us to grow as a family and learn to, because when Islam is talking about family structure, there is more to it than we think. For example, when we say, for example, about Islam emphasizing about praying together, one of the lessons we learn is it teaches us the lesson of equality. How? See, for example, when we go out, right, I might drive Mercedes. He might drive, for example, Toyota. He might drive motorcycle.
Yes.
He might drive, for example, bicycle, right? We might have differences. This is when we go outside.
Yeah.
But when we come before Allah and we stand in that line to pray together, there is no anybody who is better than anybody.
We're all the same.
That's right. We stand there, we do ruku together, we go to the sajda together, we pray together, we start together, we finish together. That itself, what it does, it teaches us the humility and the equality. That is one. Not only that, it also teaches us also to care for one another. Because if, let's say, for example, I go to Salat al-Jum'ah every day, or I go to Salat al-Jum'ah every day, and I see this brother every day, I see this sister every day, and I happen didn't see her, what do? I ask about her.
Yeah. Yes.
What happened to the sister? Is she sick? Is she traveling? Is she busy? What is happening? All right. Now I become concerned about her, concerned about him. All right. Now if he's sick, for example, what happens? I go visit him. I go visit her. If she is traveling or he is traveling, then I pray for their safe trip and the safe trip back. All right. So this is more when it comes to this family and doing things together. And that is one of the lessons we learn from the Islam when it comes to family. Now, that is why you see in Islam, Allah has emphasized so much about family. All right. And you come to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you see one of the lessons we learn from him is that when he decided to go to Karbala, he decided to take all his family. Sisters like Zainab, to take his nephews like Aoun and Muhammad. He started to take Hassan, like Qasim ibn al-Hassan. He started to take his wives, his children, all of them. In the beginning, there was some resistance from some of the companions. For example, like Ibn Abbas, he came to Imam Hussein and he said to him, why do you have to go to Karbala? Why don't you stay in Medina, comfortable, and live your life with your family? Imam Hussein alayhi salam said, no, I have to go. I cannot longer stay in Medina because the people of Kufa have invited me and I have to go and take care of that invitation. Then Ibn Abbas says, okay, if you have to go, I understand that. But why do you have to take wives and children? What's the point? Especially if, let's say, something happened, a war started, then what will happen to those children? Imam Hussein says, I have to go. And I have to take those families with me. A lot of us, we couldn't understand what is the message that Imam Hussein did take the children and the family with him to Karbala. Because A lot of these women didn't fight.
Yes.
A lot of these children didn't fight.
fight, yeah.
So what's the point of taking them?
Yeah.
Now, one of the lessons we learn is to teach us the family have to be together during the time of difficulty and during the time of ease. That's one of the message Imam Hussein is telling us. That you should not leave a family behind. A family should always be together during the time of happiness and during the time of sadness.
Yes.
That is one of the message. The second message we learn from Imam Hussein also is that when you take families with you, right, in those kind of trip, you take them so that those who survive and saw what happened, they live to tell the story.
Yes.
Because if Imam Hussein was to go by himself and he got killed with his companion, now the enemies are the only one to tell the story of what happened.
Yes.
And they can distort, they can tell what they want, they cannot tell what they want, and they will not give the actually real story that happened.
Yeah.
Right? But when Imam Hussein took the family were able to see what happened, and the family were able to tell exactly the true story of what happened.
You can narrate the story.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
And that is what you see Imam Hussein, before the martyrdom, he told Zainab Salamullah alayha, he told her that I want you to live so you can tell the story.
Yes.
And he told his son, Imam Zain al-Abidin, he said, I don't want you to be killed. I don't want you to go to the battlefield. Someone has to survive.
Yes.
And the reality is this, even before the tragedy took place, Bani Umayyah were sending false information to people regarding Imam Hussein. That Imam Hussein came out for the worldly materialism. Imam Hussein came out because he wants to be the king. Imam Hussein came out because he wants the power, and so on and so forth. Right? This is when he was even alive.
Yes.
Now imagine if he was not alive. Right? So the way that Imam Hussein has structured the Karbala and taken the family, one of the reason is so that the family live to tell the story. That is why the actual story of Karbala that we got is from three important individuals.
Yes.
Number one, Imam Zain al-Abidin, the son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because he was there from the beginning till the end, and he saw every single details about what happened.
Yes.
That's one. Number two, Imam Zain al-Abidin had a son, which is Imam Muhammad al-Baqir,
Yes.
who was there too.
Yes.
And he was a child, but he saw every detail that happened.
Yes.
And he told the story too.
Yes.
The third one was Zainab Salamullah alayha, which was also there, and she saw every details about what happened.
Yeah.
Right? So now you understand the wisdom behind why Imam Hussein took those families and the children so they can live to see what happened and tell the story
And
about
narrate.
exactly what happened.
Yes, they can narrate the events.
That's right.
Okay, so Sheikh, I'll just cut you short just now for a few minutes. We'll just take a break and resume back. Okay, thank you.
السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Amani ya Mwenyezi Mungu imfikie Hussein na Ali mwana wa Hussein na wana wa Hussein na masahaba wa Hussein.
I feel like we've lost our way. Though I understand that these tears we shed for Imam Hussein will be weighed on a day of judgment like gold, and everything we did in his way will be like the most beautiful good deeds, and my heart bleeds. Hussein, and he's all that I need. He's the thirst of my spirituality and the flame that my heart feeds on, and whenever I'm in need I get down on my knees and I plead with the words Ya Hussein proudly on my tongue, and I know that he heeds, and I walk the roads he walks on, because I know where he leads to heaven, where he leads as the master of the youth of paradise, where his father holds the keys, and the only way I'll get there is if he intercedes for the wretched person that is me. But there's more to just a tear. A tear needs to mean something. Crocodiles cry, but when it comes to mealtime, it doesn't mean nothing. This tear is worth so much that it's measured by a fly's wing. But if we don't pray, we don't receive intercession, i.e. it isn't worth anything. If we spend 10 days making a majlis but can't spend 10 minutes praying, then there's clearly something wrong with the love that we claim to have that's really worth investigating. If we use the hands that we use to lament Hussein to beat our kids or beat women, then how ignorant are we of Hussein's uprising? The same hands Abbas lost when sacrificing all that he had for those women and children who from thirst were dying. If we oppress others, no matter how small that oppression seems to be it mocking or bullying, harassing or belittling, then whose side are we sitting on? Hussein's or Yazid's? If we give our money to the majlis but earn that money through cheating and stealing, or we stand up when our own rights are taken away but don't stand up for others who are bleeding, or we see oppression and we hesitate because we think about all that it might take from us and are comfortable living, then we aren't taking on lessons from the same story we keep hearing. If we can't ignite the Hussein within us, then which Hussein are we lamenting? If we can't defeat the Yazid within us, then which Yazid are we condemning? If we can't implement Hussein in our life, then which Hussein are we remembering? So to say you love Hussein while you don't follow Hussein is a red herring. Because in the book of Ashura, his enemies can be read hearing that the reason he rose up was for the verse read that his grandfather read hearing revelation in his ear, yearning the perfection of mankind's morality, and yet we have the indignity to live in humiliation and not in dignity. And I speak for myself. If I want to be beside Hussein, then I need to let go of everything in my life besides Hussein. Everything that doesn't realize Hussein. Everything that fails to live by Hussein. And by extension, that means God, because Hussein did everything he did because of God, who himself wants nothing more than us to be like Hussein. Ask any one of us who inspires us and we'll be like Hussein. Sad though, that so few of us actually want to be like Hussein.
They call them tears, a human response to extreme emotions, water molecules that flow in sync with our sadness like waves. But there's something different when it comes to tears shed for Hussein. They say in the hereafter they live on to extinguish flames, and on earth they unchain glaciers that break away and begin to melt the coldness that we possess in vain. And when we build our life in temporary form like sandcastles, he breaks the shore and blows them away and reminds us never to kneel in shame, not for a man nor king, for every man must see us eye to eye, the same, a drop in the universe identically weighed as it falls and dries and disappears. The many lessons we learn from tears, a natural anesthetic that breaks away, cascades down cheeks and heals the pain. And that's precisely the story of Hussein. 72 tears leaving earth selflessly, dripping away into eternity, where their names form definitions and us mortals chasing expeditions, trying to understand each one by one, the brave, the selfless, the young, and how these constellations guide the lives of those who call themselves the followers of Ali and the 9 generations of sons. Both in life and in death, an encyclopedia of stars plotted across the night skies, brought to life with every full turn of the earth, where the planets mourn and the feet walk and the chests beat like a field of sowing seeds, and the angels oversee the allegiance signed and sent, where millions pledge their souls, hearts and years and chant, please honor us Ya Hussein by taking our tears.
To truly commemorate Hussein, Stand up for someone suffering, be it from racism, domestic violence, or bullying.
Think about the secret burdens that people are carrying.
Think about the apartheid who partides in lobbying.
Those who mute voices until there is nothing more to say about
Or
suffering.
the black man shot dead for his skin coloring.
Or the woman with the acid in her face for covering.
Be there for the depressed soul whose smile is shivering.
Or the broken in need of comforting.
Be there for the orphan's dreams crushed by his own starving.
Or the growing teen crushed by the burdens.
Or a refugee seeking refuge and yearning for a living.
Or the dreams that capsize just like the boats that stop floating.
Or a native's land weeping from oil profiteering. Commemorate Hussein by acting like Hussein.
السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Amani ya Mwenyezi Mungu imfikie Hussein na Ali mwana wa Hussein na wana wa Hussein na masahaba wa Hussein.
Welcome back, viewers, to our program Lessons from Karbala. Today we're discussing importance of family, and let's continue from where Sheikh had started. Yes?
Yes, as we were talking about the importance of family, you know, unfortunately today when you look in the world is suffering from family disruptions, family destructions. You see a lot of divorces happening in the Muslim world, and not only Muslim world, in the world at large. That you see today, the smallest issue in the marriage leads to divorce. Things that is not even worth divorce today becomes a reason of divorce, which when you look in Islam is one of the things that Islam absolutely discourage. And even in Islam they said that one of the halal that makes Allah angry is divorce. When two people decided to get divorced, they say in one narration, the throne of Allah shakes because of it. Because Allah doesn't like family breaking up.
Yeah.
Right? And Islam, some narrations say, when family are staying together, then Allah opens the doors of heaven for them. That is to tell us how much Islam emphasizes on family unity and family structure. Now, in this family structure also, we see that our Prophet, in every aspect of life, he tried so much to keep family together. And the same thing, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they have emphasized so much on the family more than anything. After Salat and Hajj and Zakat, the next important thing is about the family. You know, you see, for example, Imam Ali tells us in one of his will, he said to Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he said, Allah fil islahi that al bayn. He said, I urge you for the sake of Allah to keep the family structure together and do not break the families. Keep them together. Right? So you see that in Islam, family structure is absolutely important and it has been encouraged. And that is why when there is dispute in a family structure, you know, you go to the Quran, Quran has put some kind of process, right? Number one, it says the first, if when the problem started to come up, Islam and Quran tells us the first thing is sit down and talk about it, which we call today counseling,
Yes.
right? A husband and wife should sit down, discuss the issue, try to come up with the solution and move on. Now, let's say this didn't work. We couldn't get to see, you know, with the same eye. So what happened? Islam said, then take it to the next level. What's the next level? Islam said, then invite a third party who is not biased to the husband or to the wife.
Yes.
And have him be the third party who would hear both sides and try to reconcile and bring the family together. Now, if that didn't work, Islam said, then you take it to the third level. And the third level, it says, then invite one person from the sister side, one person from the brother side, who should not be biased to anybody. They both come, sit down, listen to the husband, listen to the wife, and come up with the solution so that to keep the family together.
Yes.
Now, this is what Islam is telling us as a process of keeping family together. And Islam doesn't give any way out for a family to be destroyed. And it tells a husband or a wife as a family that in case something happened, let's say a husband has a bad habit and the wife is struggling, then Islam comes to tell you, if you are patient with your husband, there is such and such reward for you in this world. Yes. If your husband is misbehaving or is behaving certain way and you are not happy, if you become patient, there is this amount of reward for you. That is just to keep you together as a family. All right? And the same thing applies to the men too. If I have a wife who is not this, Islam says, if you become patient, you will do this, Allah will do this for you. Yes. Right? I'll give an example from the Quran. You see, one thing we have to understand, that in every family, there is a problem.
Yes.
There's never a perfect family without any issues. That's one thing we have to understand. And when you go to the Quran tells you that even some of the perfect people, they end up with the families who are not perfect. But they were able to put it together and stick together and wait till what Allah does. I'll give an example. One perfect woman from the Quran who happened to have a bad husband, but she stick with him till the last moment of her life. And that woman is called Asiya bint Muzahim, the wife of Pharaoh.
Yes.
Right? She was a very perfect woman, but she never married a perfect man.
Yeah.
She had struggles with him. She has problems with him, but she never said, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna stay because you're bad. No, she stayed with him until he killed her.
Yeah.
Today, somebody will say, she must be crazy, right? But that's what we are looking, is not what she's looking at. That's why she was able to stay with him for all these years, right? Now, among the men too, there were some men who were perfect, but they married women who were not perfect.
Yeah.
One example is from the Quran, Prophet Lut alayhi salam.
Yes.
He was a perfect man, but he married a woman who was not a perfect. And he has challenges with her, but not one single day he says, I'm going to divorce you.
Yes.
No, he still lived with her and tried to pull things together, work together, until Allah decided what to do.
Yes.
Which is, Allah put her to among those he destroyed. Right? Not only that, you come to also, in the Quran, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he had two wives. Right? One of them was good, one was not good. But not one time he divorced her. He stayed with her until death.
Yes.
Not only that, you come to our Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, he married a woman who was called Ja'da,
Yes.
who ended up putting poison in the food of Imam.
Yeah.
And Imam knew that, but he never divorced her. Why? Because the structure of the family is more important than all of this issue. Right? Now, let me take you to another level. Even sometimes it's not about a father or husband and wife. Sometimes a husband and wife can be perfect, but the child is not perfect. So what should you do? Quran gives an example. Like Luqman alayhi salam, he was perfect. His wife was good, but they have a child who was not perfect. As a matter of fact, in the history, it is mentioned that he was an idol worshipper. Right? But you see, Prophet Luqman alayhi salam, he never disowned his child. He never said, you're outcast. No. Quran comes and tells us that he kept working with his son. He talks to him. And Quran quote where he says, Ya bunayya la tushrik billah. My son, do not associate Allah with anything. And he was advising him.
Yes.
And he was advising him very, very polite. And guess what? At some point, the child turned. And he became believer. And they have a good family.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes family structure can be a problematic from the husband, from the wife, from the child, but that should not cause us to despair and destroy the family tree that we created. Right? Another example, you see Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, as a father, as a prophet, his son was not a perfect son.
Yes.
He was disbeliever, and he ended up being drowned in that water, right, in that rain. But Nuh never disowned his son. Even after he died, he kept praying to Allah for his salvation, for rescue, for Allah to forgive him, until Allah told him no. Right? So you see, all of these perfect people, they have set an example for us. And this is all to tell us what? The importance of family. And not despair the family, not destroy the family. And family is supposed to be together regardless of anything. Now, another important message is this. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, right? When Allah told him to move from Iraq to Mecca, to go and rebuild Mecca, the Kaaba. Now, when he was going, he could go alone, but he didn't go alone. He took his wife, he took his son too, right? Even though the son was an infant at that point, which he could say, okay, you stay home, let me go, and then I'll come back. No, but he took his son with him, right? This is nothing but to teach us the importance of family structure. That family structure is something that should be kept, and should be also not to be kept, should be protected. Family tree should be like a tree which a wind can come and blow, move it left and right, but still, at the end of the day, still standing on its root. Right? Challenges should come in the family. That I have issue with my husband, I have issue with my son, I have issue. But that issue should not reach to the point where I have to cut the family tie. Now, I should keep the family, because family tie is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves so much. And you can see how important this family is. Allah tells us in the Quran that even on the day of judgment, He will keep the family together.
MashaAllah.
Yes.
Okay, Sheikh, we have some really interesting questions here from our viewers. So I think we should address them before we wind up. Yeah? Okay, our first question is, I'm a Sunni and I do learn more about Shiaism. And I love Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. My question is, why do Shias beat their chest and cut themselves when mourning the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? Yeah.
In answering this question, we said, first of all, every culture and every nation have their way of mourning their important ones, right? But before I go to answer that, let me just take you a minute to address that every country that you go, they have respect and the honor for people who gave their life for that country. And every country has that day, they call it Independence Day, every year, where they come out, the whole country will come to commemorate and remember those fallen heroes who stood and gave their life in saving that country.
Yes.
Right? That's every country. Not only that, they even go one step forward to put in some of the flags a red color to indicate the blood of those who gave their life for that country. That's two. Number three, they even go another step to put some statues for the names of those individuals, so they keep their memory alive, because these are the people who give their life. That's three. Number four, they even go, some streets are named after some of those individuals, so that they keep their memory alive all the time, right? That is normal human being. Now, Islam is not stranger than this, which is Islam also have heroes who give their life to protect this Islam. So in doing so, we have responsibility to remember them, to honor them. And part of those people are the Imam Hussein and his people who gave their life in protecting Islam. Now, because of that, every year we come out to show our grief, our sorrow to what happened to him, and to show also our anger at those who killed him and his family. Now, in doing so, as you know, in every culture, they have different way of showing sorrow. I'll give an example. Some people, some cultures, when they are in sadness, when they lose somebody so dear, they beat their heads to show how they sorrow about what happened to them. Some cultures, no, they scratch their faces to show their anger about how they miss someone in their family. Some cultures, they tear their shirt, their clothes off to show how much the person they lose means to them. We, the Shia and the followers Ahlul Bayt, we beat our chest to mean two things. Number one, that Imam Hussein is so dear to us and he is in our heart.
Yes.
So when we beat our heart, that's the indication. Number two, this beating the chest is also to indicate how much we are sad for losing an individual like Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Yes.
Yes.
And what about cutting themselves?
No, cutting themselves also is another way some people show their grief, their sorrow about what happened. And not only that, they also cut themselves to show that the way you, Hussein, was cut and bled on the day of Karbala, if we were there, we will have also give the blood in sacrificing and protecting you. Yes. But since we were not there, our way of showing our loyalty to you is to share blood on the day you shed blood, and also to show our support to you.
Yes.
So that
but this is a cultural thing. It is not religious.
Yeah. This is, yes, some people do
it's
this.
Just to specify that it is actually their culture.
Right.
Not religious, isn't it?
Right.
It's not in it's not in Shiaism that we do that
Right.
we've been told.
Correct.
It's just according to our culture what we do.
Right.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then the second question, why do Shias mourn Imam Hussein more than any other Imam?
Number one, we mourn all the Imams, including the Prophet. Okay? And we don't mourn Imam Hussein more because we want to. It's because the Prophet told us to do that. And as a matter of fact, the first one to mourn for Imam Hussein was the Prophet.
The Prophet, yes.
And as a matter of fact, if we want to go this, if we want to take this, we say mourning of Imam Hussein is mustahab. It's a sunnah of the Prophet. Because if you go to the narrations, they said a Prophet was told that Imam Hussein will be killed in the land of Karbala, and Jibreel even brought a glass of the sand of that land and gave to a Prophet and say, you will not live to see it, but give to your wife Salama, and ask her to keep it. The day the sand turned to blood is an indication that Hussein was killed. And the Prophet and Salama, they sat and mourned and cried before the tragedy even happened.
Yes.
Today we mourn after the tragedy.
Yeah.
The Prophet mourned and cried for it. So that indicates that the Prophet made this as a sunnah for his ummah to cry and mourn for the tragedy of Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Yes, mashallah. Okay, then the third question is, the last question we have is, somebody's asked, Shias go to Karbala instead of Makkah for Hajj. So you need to address this.
This question is not true.
Obviously, yeah.
Because we have to understand, Hajj is wajib. Karbala is mustahab.
Yes.
And in Islam, mustahab cannot override wajib. Which means you cannot leave wajib to go do mustahab. No.
No.
Right? Wajib overrides the mustahab. Yes, people can go to Hajj, can go to Karbala. But Hajj is wajib. If a person meets the conditions of Hajj, then Hajj is wajib. You have to go. You don't have an option. But Karbala is an optional. You don't have to go if you don't want to. You might have the means, you might have the money, but if you say, I don't want to go, you're still fine. You can do ziyarah of Imam Hussein from far away, and you're okay. But Hajj, you cannot.
Yes.
So to say that people go there instead of Hajj, that's not true. That's one. And number two, to say that people take ziyarah of Imam Hussein as Hajj, that's not true.
That's not true, yeah.
Because Hajj is a structure of way of pilgrimage which was prescribed by Allah in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, right? But the ziyarah, no, you go there and visit Imam Hussein. Do the dua and do ziyarah. That's all what it is. And that is mustahab. So you cannot go there instead of Hajj. That's not going to happen. And it's not, we don't have any one scholar from the Shia world who gave any ruling in that regard. So no, that's not true.
Yes. Okay, now Sheikh will wind up here today for our session, and inshallah we should be back tomorrow, continuing with the lessons from Karbala. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Amani ya Mwenyezi Mungu imfikie Hussein na Ali mwana wa Hussein na wana wa Hussein na masahaba wa Hussein.